I'm just a little mountain tit who can't fly. To make a living, I have to sing on the treetops. Who knew I'd wake up the handsome python in the tree hollow? He really couldn't take it anymore. Stop singing in that bird language. I'll take care of you from now on. As he spoke, he tried to stuff a caterpillar into my mouth. Scared to death, I immediately transformed into a little female. The handsome python's eyes went wide, but before he could strike a pose, the big shots next door smelled something and came over. Having just opened my eyes, I felt like my whole body was about to split apart. My throat was as dry as if I'd swallowed a handful of sand. I just wanted to raise my hand to rub my eyes. Suddenly, with a slap, a pair of fluffy little wings smacked me right in the face. I looked down. My fair, smooth little hands had actually turned into a pair of white bird claws. Looking at my belly, it was round and covered in snow-white down. I was completely petrified. Wasn't I just about to pull an all-nighter for winter break? How did I pull an all-nighter and turn into a bird? I'm going to lose hope. Flapping around a few times, my head felt like a sticky rice ball. I limply buried it into my wings. My little beak uncontrollably let out a chirping sound. I'm doomed. Not only did I transmigrate into a necklace little fat chick, but I'm also an ostrich-like bird that can't fly. I struggled to crawl to the edge of the branch to look down. This tree felt as tall as a skyscraper. This isn't even a bird's nest. Was I hit up here like a badminton shuttlecock? Before I could figure it out, my stomach began to growl loudly. Hunger hit me like a tidal wave. To survive, I endured the shame and let out hungry chirps for food, but I chirped until my throat smoked. And didn't see a single soul. I stamped my little feet in anxiety. Suddenly, I remembered that transmigrators have perks. I quickly closed my eyes and called for a system. The system didn't show up, but I awakened a wood element ability. The spiritual energy of the surrounding plants frantically surged into my tiny body. My body became scorching hot. Sharp pains came from the roots of my feathers. I stumbled and began to fall downward. It's over. Falling from this height, I'll definitely be smashed into a bird pancake. Just then, the vines on the trunk seemed to come alive. Several thick green vines suddenly formed a support net, steadily protecting me as I fell, and the moment I touched the ground, I went from a round little fat chick to a little human girl. I couldn't help but check myself over. I actually became a miner. This wood ability must be some cheap knockoff. Before I could complain further, I heard footsteps nearby. Only then did I remember. The reason the original host was abandoned here was because of the tribe's narrow-minded beliefs. They thought a young hatchling being able to transform into human form was an ominous omen. I frowned. There's no reasoning with these locals. I'd better maintain my fat chick form for now. With a whoosh, I turned back into a fat chick and hid behind a large tree. The footsteps gradually faded away. My stomach started growling again. Seeing a green fruit on the ground, I waddled over curiously. I took a peck. Yikes. Is this even a fruit? It's more like concentrated lemon essence. My tiny features instantly twisted into a mask of pain. Just then, in the bushes in front of me, a scalp-tingling hissing sound suddenly came through. Before I could react, a giant black snake, thicker than a water bucket, rushed out. Its mouth was clamped firmly on the neck of a wild deer. Fresh blood dripped down along the twitching fur. The giant snake seemed to sense someone watching. It abruptly looked down. Golden pupils instantly locked onto me. My vision went black, like a deflated ball. I flopped over and fainted. The giant snake frowned slightly. He instantly transformed into a handsome man. Song Ling carefully placed me in his palm. He used his index finger to gently poke my little head. This little thing, its courage is way too small. Scared unconscious just like that? Suddenly, a giant hawk descended from the sky. Upon landing, it turned into a tall young man. Yushu put his hand on Song Ling's shoulder. He asked, "Didn't you say you saw a little female?" "Where?" Both of their gazes simultaneously fell on my round little body. When I woke up again, I was already in a clean little nest. I stood up and shook my wings. Resigned, I sat back down on my butt. Okay, I really haven't transmigrated back. Just then, the aroma of roasted meat wafted over. I immediately perked up. My little eyes quickly locked onto the roast meat on the table. I hopped onto the table in a few bounds. Chirping, I rushed toward the meat. I lifted my small beak to take a fierce peck at the meat. Suddenly, my tiny body was lifted into the air. Puffing my chest out angrily, I turned around. Just as I was about to unleash some choice words, I realized the other person was an incredibly handsome guy. Black and white long hair, perfect features. Inside his golden pupils, there was a melancholy yet slightly ruthless aura. He looked exactly like a handsome arch-villain. I stared for a while, then it clicked. Those golden eyes look familiar. He couldn't be that big python, could he? But now isn't the time to settle scores. I need to eat first. I pointed at the meat and then at myself. I let out some fierce but adorable chirps. Song Ling put me back into the grass nest. He gently stroked my forehead and said, "Little chick, your current body can't digest this roasted meat. I had Yushu prepare a feast more suitable for you. It'll be here soon." Hearing his words, I sat down contentedly. Just then, Yushu walked in. He looked quite disheveled. There was mud on his handsome face. He was holding a box with both hands. He walked over excitedly and said, coming, little chick's feast is here." I quickly stood up. I stared at the box with great anticipation. My little feet patted back and forth inside the nest. My wings even vibrated unconsciously. Songling opened the box and brought it to me. Inside, there were rows of plump caterpillars and earthworms that wouldn't stop wriggling. I was so scared that all my feathers puffed up. With a whoosh, I transformed into a girl. I screamed at the top of my lungs, "I don't want to eat caterpillars." I curled up in the grass nest. My large, misty eyes looked at Songling and Yushu. My fair little face was written all over with rejection. The two men were stunned. After all, females are rare and precious in the beast world. Who would have thought the little bird they picked up was actually such a lovable little female? Songling was the first to react. He quickly took the box of caterpillars and shoved it back to Yushu. He wiped his hands on his bark clothes. Then he brought over the roast meat from the table. "I'm sorry, little female. We thought you were a young hatchling who couldn't transform yet." My eyes lit up the moment I saw the roast meat. I was truly starving. I grabbed the meat and started eating. Oh my god, it's like chewing on a rag. And a fishy-smelling rag at that. I endured the urge to vomit and chewed patiently. Behind me, Yushu watched me with surprise. At this time, I didn't know there was a rule in the beast world. Whoever finds a little female gets priority to become her beast consort. Yushu quickly hid the box behind his back. He instinctively wiped his own face. Then he happily asked, "Little female, what's your name? Did you get separated from your tribe?" I paused and said, "My name is Suchio. The people in my tribe thought a hatchling like me transforming early was an ominous sign. So they abandoned me." Yushu looked shocked. "What kind of logic is that? Are there no hatchlings in your tribe who transform?" I shook my head. Songling handed me a piece of animal skin. He comforted me. "It's okay, Chocho. Our tribe would never do such a thing. You can feel safe staying here with us." I nodded obediently. Yushu nodded as well. Then he turned and went out. In a short while, he brought back a large group of people. Everyone crowded at the entrance, craning their necks to look inside. They all wanted to see the new little female. A female beast man named Juhua walked in first. The moment she entered, she started directing people to work. Then she tried to kick Songling out. At first, Songling refused to leave. Juhua shook the new clothes in her hand. She said, "Do you intend to watch the little female bathe?" Only then did Songling turn and leave with a red face. Juhua took my hand and walked to the water. "I heard about your situation from Yushu. Abandoning a cub is a disgrace to the beast god. We don't want anything to do with that crazy tribe. From now on, this is your new home." Her words warmed my heart. I happily took a bath. When I stepped out of the cave in the new clothes Juhua brought, more and more people had gathered at the entrance. This tribe was very welcoming. There were beastmen of all kinds of species, but females like me, whose original form is a small bird, are quite rare. After the bath, I looked even more soft and fragrant. My features were delicate and small. My skin was like a freshly peeled egg. The whole of me radiated an inexplicable attraction. Songling and Yushu were both stunned. Juhua cleared her throat and said, "Chocho, the tribe is holding a bonfire gathering tonight. Why don't you come with us?" I nodded happily. Sure. The words had just left my mouth when the people in front of me all shifted back to their beast forms. A giant panda, a handsome hawk, and a domineering gray wolf. I was dazed. Wait, are you all this huge? Then what does my palm-sized fat bird form count as? Yushu was the first to come forward. He offered me his broad back. "Chocho, ride me. I'll take you flying." The ostrich nearby also quickly said, "Ride me. I'll let you experience true speed." Other beastmen then crowded forward, competing to speak. Everyone was talking over each other. I looked at Songling at the back of the crowd. He didn't transform into his beast form. There was a hint of disappointment on his face. "Chocho, since I scared you unconscious with my snake form during our first meeting, I'd better not change." I was just about to speak when Juhua beside me gave a loud roar. Then she turned into a giant white tiger. She crouched down in front of me, signaling for me to climb onto her back. Juhua is a female and the daughter of the tribe leader. Her words carry a lot of weight. Seeing this, the other beastmen instinctively backed away. I carefully climbed up. My fingertips touched that fluffy fur. My eyes instantly lit up. Wow, so fluffy. This is way too soft. I simply sprawled my whole body over the tiger's back. Juhua carried me steadily as we set off. Soon we arrived at the tribe center. The party atmosphere was already very strong. Juhua took the lead in welcoming me. She took my hand and we danced around the bonfire. The tribe members took turns comforting me. They even brought me gifts. I'm really starting to love this tribe more and more. Songling brought over some more roasted meat. He even carefully tore it into strips. Then he took a few green fruits from his pocket. He squeezed them to sprinkle the juice onto the meat. Then he had me try the meat again. The roast meat had indeed become more tender. It even had a bit of a sweet and sour taste. Others were attracted by its delicious expression. They all started to follow suit. I was eating happily. When I looked up, I unexpectedly locked eyes with a pair of golden pupils. Songling had moved in front of me at some point. He was looking at me expectantly, just like a big cat waiting to be fed. My heart skipped half a beat. I pulled another green fruit out of my pocket. I don't know if I was too nervous, but I simply couldn't squeeze it open. Songling wrapped his arms around me from behind. His warm, large hand covered my small one. With a gentle squeeze, the juice of the green fruit came out. My face became so red you could fry an egg on it. Just as I was about to pick up the meat, a sharp pain hit my head. What's going on? Why does this scene feel so familiar? Song Ling quickly reached out to support me. He asked anxiously, "What's wrong, Cho-Cho?" I looked at Song Ling's face. My pupils dilated suddenly. I remember now. Isn't this the novel I was reading while staying up late? Song Ling also transmigrated here. He's the super arch-villain in the book. After meeting the female lead who also transmigrated, he was goaded into darkening and became a great demon. Not only did he kill the entire tribe, but he even sacrificed the female lead. I instantly panicked. I didn't know whether to be shocked first that Song Ling is the villain, or to confirm first if I am that unlucky female lead. I turned my head stiffly, looking at the tribe members dancing around the fire. Yushu even waved at me with a smile. But in my mind, images of their tragic deaths appeared. Song Ling's voice sounded again. "What's wrong, Cho-Cho?" My gaze returned to Song Ling's harmless, handsome face. Luckily, I haven't revealed my transmigration yet. Should I test Song Ling first? I picked up a small wooden stick from the ground. I asked hesitantly, "Are you family?" Song Ling took the stick and shook it. His face was full of question marks. "Family? What's that?" Just as I was hesitating to test further, Yushu popped out from the side. He took the stick and said triumphantly, "Oh." Fanning the flames, my gaze instantly locked onto Yushu. Could he be the transmigrated villain? Yushu saw me staring straight at him. The corners of his mouth almost couldn't stay down. He sat down right next to me with a look of determination on his face. He said, "Cho-Cho means brush some oil on the meat and add some wood to the fire, right, Cho-Cho?" The corner of my mouth twitched. Nice one. After getting my praise, he worked even harder at roasting meat. I suddenly felt a bit dizzy and lightheaded. Maybe because my true form is a hatchling, I can't maintain human form for long. I turned and said to Juhua, "Sister Juhua, I'm a bit tired. I'll go rest for a bit." After saying that, I turned back into a fat chick. I huddled on Juhua's tail, thinking deeply. I still haven't figured out the situation. Better to stay as a fat chick for now. Am I that unlucky female lead? Why did the female lead push the male lead to darken? Thinking about it, I fell asleep. Meanwhile, in the north of the beast continent, a girl in pajamas woke up in the grass. Cold sweat soaked her hair. Her pale little face was full of fear. She was repeatedly muttering, "Ah. Run. Run." When I woke up again, I was back in the grass nest in the cave. I dizzily rolled over, exposing my soft belly. My feathers shook a bit, and I kicked my legs from time to time as if I was practicing flying in a dream. I propped up my round little body and sat up. The nest underneath me was lined with soft dry grass. All the pointy bits had been trimmed and smoothed over. The hay even had a faint medicinal scent. It was probably for repelling insects. I couldn't help but mutter, "How thoughtful." Just then, Song Ling walked in. He came over and gently checked my forehead. "No fever. Little chick, do you still feel unwell?" I shook my little head. I couldn't help but think, could such a thoughtful and gentle handsome guy really be a villain? Song Ling took out another small box. He said, "I was afraid you'd get hungry at night, so I prepared some snacks for you." Looking at that familiar wooden box, all the hairs on my body stood up. I instinctively backed away. It wouldn't be those caterpillars again, would it? Seeing my comical expression, Song Ling smiled and said, "Don't worry. I'm not Yushu. There aren't any caterpillars in this box." He opened the box and placed it before me. It was actually sweet raisins. My little mouth instantly watered. I quickly pecked at one to try. Sweet and sour, so delicious. I ate several more in a row. Song Ling quickly closed the lid. He said dotingly, "Don't be greedy now." I smacked my beak, savoring the taste. Song Ling put the box away and prepared to leave. "Yushu and I live right next door. If you need anything, just call out loudly." I nodded obediently. Then I curled back up to sleep. Outside the cave, as Song Ling was about to head back, he suddenly felt a chill from behind. Song Ling's eyes immediately filled with killing intent. But Yushu's voice came from behind. "Song Ling, wait a second." Yushu stood there expressionless under the moonlight. His tone was serious as never before. "Song Ling, do you also like Cho-Cho?" Song Ling's hand clenched instinctively. A faint blush actually appeared on his face. Although on the beast continent where females are few, it's common for a female to have multiple beast consorts. But Song Ling hadn't expected Yushu to ask so bluntly. Yushu stared directly at Song Ling. Even though they had only just reached adulthood, the outstanding Song Ling was already a 6th-ranked beastman. Plenty of females wanted Song Ling as their consort, but he had never seen Song Ling truly care about any female. This gave Yushu a sense of crisis, so he decided to ask clearly. Song Ling paused for a moment. Then he answered seriously, "Yes, I do like Cho-Cho, but for now, she's still a young female. Our primary task is to protect her well." Song Ling thought Yushu was going to pressure him not to compete for Cho-Cho. To his surprise, Yushu grinned broadly. He dashed over and hugged Song Ling. "That's great, Song Ling. From now on, we're brothers. You'll be the first consort, and I'll be the second. We'll take care of Cho-Cho together." Song Ling tried to push Yushu's big head away, but Yushu held on even tighter. He literally hung onto Song Ling's body. Resigned, Song Ling walked back into the cave. When I woke up the next day, Yushu had already prepared breakfast. It was a bland meat soup. But Yushu had thoughtfully prepared many seasonings. I hopped onto the table. My eyes soon locked onto a kind of plant that looked like pepper. I walked over and sniffed it. I couldn't smell a thing. I lifted my little wings to direct Yushu. I let out some chirping sounds. Yushu immediately understood what I meant. He picked up a clean stone and gently crushed the pepper. I leaned down to sniff the crushed pepper again. A sharp, spicy scent suddenly burst out from the crushed pepper. It made me sneeze violently. I fell backwards onto my butt on the table. Yushu beside me started laughing like a pressure cooker. He was huffing and puffing with laughter. I gave him a sharp glare. Yushu stopped while he was ahead. Using a small wooden stick that looked like a spoon, he scooped up a large amount of pepper powder. "Is this enough, little darling?" A mischievous smile formed at the corner of my beak. I waved my little wings at Yushu. Yushu immediately looked at me with suspicion. He had laughed too arrogantly just now. Was little chick planning to take revenge? Seeing Yushu's hesitation, I immediately increased my efforts. I even started wiggling my little tail. Seeing me act so cute and adorable, Yushu's heart was about to melt. What bad intentions could such a lovable little chick possibly have? He placed the wooden spoon on the table. He leaned closer to me with a brilliant smile. I flapped my wings and gave a powerful hop, landing steadily on the handle of the spoon. The pepper on the spoon acted like a cannonball, smashing directly into Yushu's face. Unprepared, Yushu got a pepper facial mask. He immediately started sneezing, and even transformed back into his original form. A huge eagle was sneezing on the ground, with bird feathers flying everywhere. I clutched my round belly and rolled around laughing. Seeing me laugh so happily, Yushu also started laughing like a fool. We only started drinking the meat soup once we'd had our fun. The soup with pepper in it instantly became delicious. Both birds drank until our bellies were round. Yushu wanted another bowl, but I guarded the soup like a protective little chick, making chirp-chirp sounds. Yushu transformed back into human form and said, "Little Chocho, do you want to save a bowl for Songling?" I nodded vigorously. Yushu brought over a wooden box with a lid. "All right. Today is the day the hunting squad returns. Songling should be there to welcome them. Let's go together." I nodded happily. I hopped onto Yushu's shoulder with 2 jumps. Just as we were about to set off, Juhua suddenly rushed in. Before she could catch her breath, she said anxiously, "This is bad. Something happened to Songling." Hearing that something happened to Songling, I immediately transformed back into human form in a panic. "Sister Juhua, what happened to Songling? What's going on?" Juhua panted and said, "Traces of wandering beasts were found nearby. Songling took some people to chase them away. The messenger said Songling is missing." Yushu immediately entered combat mode. "Chocho, don't worry. I'll go find Songling right now. You wait here for us to come back." After Yushu finished speaking, he gave me a deep look, transformed into an eagle, and flew away. I wanted to go along, but the words died in my throat. Forget it. A little fat dove that can't fly would only be a hindrance. I helped Juhua sit down nearby. "Sister Juhua, are wandering beasts really that scary?" Juhua wiped her sweat and said, "Yes, wandering beasts have no emotions. In their eyes, there is only stealing and plundering. They especially like to steal food and kidnap the little females from the tribe." I frowned slightly. Was there a part in the novel about Songling encountering wandering beasts? Before I could figure it out, a little red panda suddenly waddled into the cave entrance. Its fluffy fur sparkled in the sunlight like a burning little fireball. Its bottom was wrapped in a piece of tree bark, looking just like a diaper. It took tiny, pigeon-toed steps and circled around me. My eyes immediately lit up. "Oh my god, this is way too cute." Juhua picked up the little red panda and patted its bottom. "Abu, how did you run out on your own? Where's your mother?" I took the opportunity to poke the little red panda's face. To my surprise, Juhua stuffed the little red panda directly into my arms. Then she pulled out something like a pacifier and handed it to me. "Chocho, Abu is my cub. Things are probably a mess outside right now. I'm going to take a look. Please take care of the little guy." After saying that, Juhua disappeared in a flash. I was a bit panicked. I know how to play with a cub, but I'm not good at babysitting. Seeing that its mother was gone, the cub became more daring. He jumped right out of my arms and started investigating my bird's nest. I thought to myself, just don't let him run out. Just as I was about to find something to block the cave entrance, I turned around and saw Abu was munching on my bird's nest like it was dry food. I lunged over in a fright, pulled out the pacifier, and stuffed it in his mouth. The little guy instantly quieted down, obediently sucking on the pacifier, making purring sounds from his throat. Just as I was about to sit down and catch my breath, Abu climbed onto the table to investigate the pepper powder. I hurried over to put the pepper away, but the little guy reached his arms out to me and then sneezed violently. The pungent, choking scent hit me full in the face. Now I also had a pepper facial mask. Once I recovered, I quickly put the pepper into a bearskin pouch. Turning around, I saw Abu had already scurried to the cave entrance. I immediately chased after him. The little guy twisted and turned, slipping into a small path. He truly inherited tiger genes. That little panda ran incredibly fast. I was chasing so hard I was practically smoking. I don't know how long it was before Abu finally stopped. I thought Abu was being naughty and ran this far on purpose, and I was suddenly fuming with anger. Just as I was about to give him a piece of my mind, I got closer and realized Abu was holding a piece of jerky, munching on it happily. The pacifier was long gone. I was suddenly startled. Where did jerky come from in the middle of nowhere? Could someone have used jerky to lure little Abu? Over here on purpose? I quickly picked up Abu, ready to run. Abu, be good, come with sister, it's dangerous here. But Abu seemed to be staying here on purpose. He was as heavy as a small mountain. I couldn't pull him no matter how hard I tried. Then, the ground suddenly vibrated and a huge shadow loomed over us. Fear instantly surged from the soles of my feet to my scalp. I turned around mechanically. A monster that looked like an octopus was hanging between the large trees. Slime was dripping from its tentacles, and its huge eyes were staring straight at us. I almost threw up my dinner from last year. My hand quickly felt around inside the pouch. Suddenly, the octopus opened its small mouth and lunged at us. I quickly took the pepper powder from the pouch and threw it in its face. The octopus indeed froze for a moment, sneezing violently. Thick, slimy snot flew towards us. I slapped the jerky out of Abu's hand, hoisted him up, and ran while dodging. Abu indeed regained some sense, flailing in my arms, and insisting on going to fight the monster. I quickly hid behind a large rock. Abu, do you know the way back? Abu scanned the surroundings and nodded vigorously. I continued, good. You run faster. Go back and find your mother to bring help. I'll lure it away. Abu wanted to say something more, but the octopus was already closing in from behind. Abu patted my shoulder with a serious face, and then shot off like a little rocket. The octopus was about to chase Abu, so I picked up a stone and threw it at the octopus's face. The octopus was indeed attracted to me, raising its giant tentacles to strike. With a swish, I transformed into the little chick. Using the advantage of my small size, I darted in and out of the bushes and rock crevices. The octopus lost its patience and swung its tentacles in a wide sweep. My wing was hit by a broken tree branch, and I crashed straight toward the ground. I transformed back into human form and rolled on the ground. Sharp pain shot through my arm. Before I could even stand up, a net of jagged vines trapped me on the ground. I struggled with all my limbs. A gruff male voice came from behind. It really is a little female. Great, the boss will definitely reward me. I, Feng Zhua, am finally going to have some luck. Feng Zhua was thick and sturdy, with slime oozing from his bumpy skin. He was clearly the octopus from just now. Feng Zhua reached out a hand, and his fingers instantly turned into long tentacles, ready to bind me up tightly. My face turned red with anxiety. The thought of those slimy tentacles about to wrap around my body made me furious. I shouted, "Don't you come over here." The next second, my wood ability was activated. The vine net on my body suddenly came to life, lashing out directly at Feng Zhua. Sharp thorns cut Feng Zhua's face. Feng Zhua's pupils dilated instantly. His terror was mixed with a sort of twisted joy, which was hair-raising to see. Feng Zhua licked the corner of his mouth. A little female with an ability. Fantastic. Then, Feng Zhua's tentacles instantly turned into blades, shredding the vines with a tear sound. I struggled to my feet, but after running only a few steps, my feet were caught by a tentacle. I couldn't help but fall to the ground with a thump. Feng Zhua had reached me in his octopus form. The hot breath from his nose was foul and slimy, blowing against the back of my head. I didn't dare to look back, curling into a small ball on the ground. I silently prayed to Buddha, the god of wealth. Jesus, Mary, and Ultraman, someone, save me. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and a giant gray wolf descended from the sky. Its sharp, giant claws gleamed with light, slashing straight at the octopus's face. The two giant beasts immediately began to brawl. I looked back. The smell of blood mixed with the scent of earth hit me. I had a faint bad premonition. Who was this big gray wolf? I hadn't seen him in the tribe. I was about to find a place to hide, but the battle ended quickly. The dust settled, and a tall man walked over. He had long orange hair, and a pair of fluffy wolf ears on his head. His black pupils were full of possessiveness, staring straight at me. Something was wrong. Damn, could this be another wandering beast? Before I could turn and run, the handsome guy before me groaned and collapsed. Blood seeped through the back of his clothes. I was suddenly startled. He must have been injured by the octopus just now. He was injured saving me, after all. Besides, someone this handsome couldn't be a bad person. I quickly went forward to help him. Ranchi shrank back with pale lips, whispering weakly, "Don't get your clothes dirty." Before he could finish, he vomited a mouthful of blood. I was stunned. I hadn't seen this much blood even during New Year's pig slaughter. Suddenly remembering my wood ability, I didn't care if it would work or not, and placed both hands on his wound. I grit my teeth, trying to mobilize the remaining ability in my body. Perhaps because my desire was so strong, a miraculous green light began to glow. The emerald light flowed over Ranchi's wound. The bleeding gradually stopped, and the frightening wound began to recover. Exhausting the last bit of my ability, my vision went black, and I fainted from weakness. When I woke up again, it was already dark. I could no longer maintain human form, and was lying in the grass as a little fat dove. Nearby, Ranchi was roasting meat. Seeing me wake up, Ranchi immediately came over with the roast meat. "Little guy, you're awake. How do you feel? Are you hungry? Do you want some roast meat?" He asked so many questions at once. I didn't know which to answer first. The key was that I could only speak bird now. You wouldn't understand even if I spoke. My gaze fell on the roast meat. That sizzling, oily roast meat looked awfully familiar until I saw the round rings on it. I jumped 3 feet high in fright. Damn, isn't that the octopus's tentacle? Brother, you really aren't a picky eater. I immediately lay down and started dry heaving. Seeing my strong reaction, Ranchi quickly threw the roast meat away and handed me a small fruit. He scratched his head awkwardly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I thought we needed to eat more meat since we were injured. Ranchi saw that I was very uncomfortable. He reached out to hold me in his palm. But I looked at him warily. I had just escaped from a stinky octopus. And I didn't know where this handsome guy came from. I had to be careful. Ranchi saw my hesitation. He smoothed his hair and said, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Ranchi. I'm the captain of the Rock Tribe's hunting squad. A 5th-rank wolf beastman. He got closer to me and whispered, and I'm single. Only when I heard Rock Tribe did I feel relieved. I flapped my wings and sat down, pecking at the fruit in small bites. So he's from the hunting squad. No wonder I hadn't seen him before. Mentioning the hunting squad, I suddenly remembered Song Ling who went missing this morning. I wonder if he came back safely and if the little panda found Sister Juhua. Now I had no appetite. I immediately hopped in place, pointing my little wings anxiously in the direction of home while chirping away. Ranchi understood my meaning immediately. You want to go home, don't you? No problem, I'll take you home now. I thought Ranchi would transform into a big gray wolf to carry me back, but to my surprise, he started taking off his clothes. He used a bit of force to pull his clothes down. His bulging chest muscles rose and fell with his breathing. Further down, a set of shredded abs appeared unreservedly in my vision. I immediately covered my eyes with my wings, leaving a small gap. Oh my goodness, is this something I can see for free? Before I could react, Ranchi picked me up and placed me against his abs. I've made a temporary nest here. If you're ready, let's go. Ranchi's move almost made my jaw drop. Building a nest in his abs. You beastmen really know how to play. I was just about to test the feel of him when Song Ling's voice came from nearby. What are you doing? Song Ling walked toward us with a look of displeasure. When I saw it was Song Ling, I immediately hopped down. Song Ling caught me steadily, holding me in his palm and examining me carefully. He asked distressedly, Chocho, are you hurt? I shook my little head. Ranchi, behind us, spoke up. Chocho saved me. She exhausted too much energy. Song Ling saw that Ranchi was still showing his abs and that my little eyes were drifting toward them from time to time. Song Ling became even more displeased, but before he could speak, Yushu suddenly burst out, rushing toward Ranchi while cursing, You rascal, what are you doing flaunting those rows of abs? You're asking for it. As he spoke, he transformed into an eagle and began to peck. Startled, Ranchi also transformed into a gray wolf. The two of them began to brawl. I wanted to remind them that Ranchi was still injured and that I had spent a lot of spiritual power to save him, but Song Ling stuffed a raisin into my mouth, then held me and turned to leave. A trace of a hard-to-detect smirk hung at the corner of his mouth, as if he were deliberately indulging Yushu's behavior to take revenge on Ranchi. Back at the tribe, Song Ling first took me to the witch doctor. The witch doctor grandma checked my injuries, but her expression was somewhat grave. After a long time, she began to put a splint on my little wing and brewed a bunch of foul-tasting potions for me. Just as I was frowning while drinking the medicine, Yushu and Ranchi arrived. Both of them were covered in dirt. One had wolf fur stuck to his mouth, and the other had bird feathers in his hair. They looked like two village thugs who had just been in a fight. Who could tell? That one was the young master of the Eagle clan, and the other was the hunting squad captain? I chirped and let out a laugh. The two of them felt relieved once they saw I was fine. When Song Ling was about to carry me back to the cave, the witch doctor grandma called him back. The two of them were acting very mysterious at the cave entrance. I didn't know what they were talking about. When I returned to the cave, Sister Juhua had already prepared the roast meat. The little panda was there too. As soon as Abu saw me as the little fat dove, he immediately came over curiously, holding my little face and rubbing against it. It turned out that when the little panda went back to find his mother, he got lost at a fork in the road and wandered in the forest for a long time. In the end, he was found by Yushu, who was patrolling the mountain. So by the time Song Ling and the others arrived, it was already dark. Sister Juhua thanked me repeatedly. If it weren't for Chocho, I'm sure Abu would have been taken by that wandering beast today. In all my life, this was the first time I was so recognized and thanked. My little tail began to wag uncontrollably while eating the roast meat. The little panda even brought out his treasured honey, drizzled over the tender roast meat. The aroma instantly made me dizzy with delight. I had been so hungry I was seeing stars. I held the roast meat and started eating. After a while, my little belly was round and full, and I even let out a satisfied burp. Having eaten and drunk my fill, I prepared to go to sleep. Everyone else had gone back, but Song Ling sat nearby, having no intention of leaving. I tilted my little head to look at Song Ling. The moonlight seemed to plate Song Ling in a layer of cool, white light. The silver glow fell on his slightly lowered eyelashes, and the faint shadow cast below traced his high nose bridge. He looked both cold and stunning at a glance. I was once again captivated by Song Ling. I almost started drooling. Song Ling also noticed my little expression. There was a trace of satisfaction in his eyes. He stood up and looked at me, his eyes full of tenderness. You've had a scare today. Go to sleep. I'll guard the cave entrance tonight. After saying that, Song Ling turned and went out. I had mixed feelings. Logically, Song Ling isn't my beast consort, so there's no need for him to go this far for me. Could it be that I am different to him? After a day of turmoil, I fell asleep in no time. At this moment, Song Ling at the cave entrance was frowning, recalling the words of the witch doctor grandma. This little fat dove might not be a female from the beast continent. Song Ling gazed at the moonlight with a grave expression, and he secretly made a decision. The next day, when the sun was high, I was still sleeping spread-eagled in my nest. Not until my stomach growled did I dizzily sit up. I noticed the splint on my wing had fallen off. Actually, I was almost fully recovered already. It was just that Song Ling was too nervous and insisted the witch doctor grandma examine me carefully. The witch doctor couldn't withstand Song Ling's nagging, so she put the splint on me. I stood up and flapped my wings. That sleep was so peaceful, and without the restriction of the splint, I felt full of energy. Breakfast had already been placed beside the nest, and I ate it happily. Suddenly, I saw the small box on the wooden shelf that Song Ling used to hold the raisins. Song Ling, fearing I'd be greedy, had specifically placed it high up. My stubbornness was instantly triggered. How can there be a bird that can't fly? I'm not a penguin, after all. I looked at the table not far away and suddenly felt a spark of inspiration. I wiped my little beak and hopped onto the stone bed. The stone bed was long and flat, perfect for me to use for a running start. I lowered my body, leaned my little head slightly forward, and stared ahead with my round eyes. I first flapped my wings slightly against my body to build up strength. Next, my two short legs alternated quickly to dash forward. My small body skimmed the ground as I sprinted. Suddenly, my wings snapped open, and my claws kicked off the ground with force. My round little body instantly left the stone bed. My wings flapped faster and faster, and I successfully flew onto the table. I hopped on the table happily, making chirp-chirp sounds. With this success, I became more daring. My gaze locked directly onto the high shelf holding the raisins. I backed up a few steps to the edge of the table, started another run, then spread my wings and flapped hard. Sure enough, I successfully flew onto the high shelf again, but I didn't expect the edge of the high shelf to be as slippery as if it were waxed. I slipped and flailed around like I was breakdancing, lost my footing, and fell into a water basin on the ground with a splash. Soaked to the bone, I even ended up with a ridiculous messy hairstyle. When Song Ling heard the noise and ran in, he saw me looking like a drowned bird. Song Ling chuckled and took out a piece of animal skin. He first placed the skin on the table, then scooped me out of the water. Just as he was about to dry me with the skin, the box on the high shelf suddenly fell down, hitting the water with a loud bang. I was startled, thinking the wandering beast had come back. I quickly scrambled under the table to hide. Song Ling couldn't help but laugh out loud. He crouched down and lifted me out. My already wet feathers were now covered in dust from hiding under the table. Now, the little white fat dove had turned into a little sparrow. Song Ling's smile was full of doting affection, and he even gently grazed my little nose with his finger. Nothing for it. I'll have to give you a bath today. Embarrassed, I took a few tiny, nervous steps. A bath? I shook my dirty wings and looked down at the little footprints I'd made, which were now all over the animal skins. I really did need a good bath. Before long, Song Ling brought in a small basin of warm water with fresh flower petals floating on top. I hopped to the edge of the water and dipped the tip of my wing in to test it. The temperature was just right. I was ready to get in and wash up. But to my surprise, Song Ling took over. His warm, large hands cupped me and lowered me into the water. The water instantly soaked through my feathers. Song Ling's slender fingers began to move over my body. My heart immediately started racing like a trapped deer. My face felt incredibly hot. Fortunately, I had feathers to hide it. Otherwise, I probably would have looked like a roasted little fat bird by now. After washing for a while, Song Ling slowly lifted me out of the water. After the bath, I looked even cleaner and whiter. Instinctively, I shook my wings, and droplets of water immediately splattered onto his clothes. In truth, not much water had actually splashed on him. Just a corner was slightly damp and dirty, but he suddenly remembered that night when I had peeked at his abs. Song Ling's lips curled into a smirk, a full-blown, mischievous grin. Immediately afterward, he actually started undressing right in front of me. The thin shirt clung to his back, outlining the tight muscle lines of his torso. His cool, white skin radiated strength, both aloof and alluring. Song Ling waited for a moment, but hearing no reaction from me, he couldn't help but mutter to himself, "Am I not attractive enough?" Song Ling deliberately turned slightly sideways, showing off his powerful chest muscles, even making them twitch a few times, practically screaming for attention. Song Ling patiently waited a while longer, but there was still no movement behind him. Could she have been stunned by my handsomeness? Song Ling quickly turned around, only to see a bewildered Yushu and me, secretly wiping away a nosebleed. Song Ling caught my reaction, his eyes shining with a hint of cunning pride. He quickly put his clothes back on. Yushu's jaw nearly hit the floor. Hey, Song Ling, what on earth were you doing?" Song Ling patted his clothes and said nonchalantly, "It's nothing. I just thought I had lice." Yushu immediately jumped up in anger, cursing, "You're a giant python. And you're telling me you have lice? Who are you trying to fool? Were you trying to seduce Cho-Cho while I was away?" My feathers immediately puffed up. What kind of scandalous accusations were these? I quickly flapped my little wings and flew out, seeing that I could fly. Song Ling and Yushu immediately followed me out. I couldn't fly very far yet. I could only fly back and forth between a few nearby trees. Song Ling was like an anxious nanny, running back and forth beneath the trees with his arms open, ready to catch me at any moment. After practicing for a while, I began to try flying higher into the sky. Yushu simply transformed into a falcon to practice with me. The wind from his wings brushed over the branches as he encouraged me. Don't be afraid, Chocho. I'm right here beside you. I shook my white little wings and looked straight ahead. First, the habitual running start, then a powerful leap with my two little claws, and I took off steadily, finally flying in the air. I chirped with joy, circling around the low-flying falcon, my little body practically radiating excitement. One moment I would dive to feel the weightlessness. The next I would rise to feel the wind brushing against me. It felt like a dream. Oh my god, I'm really flying. Yushu flew beside me, casting smug glances toward Song Ling, as if to say, look, I can fly with Chocho, while you, the big dumb lice-covered snake, can only watch from below. Just as I was getting more confident, a sudden gust of strong wind blew over. The wind knocked me off balance, and I was about to crash into a tree trunk. Yushu dove down immediately, using his wings to catch me precisely. My little wings couldn't sustain flight for long, so Yushu simply let me ride on his back as he flew. I didn't dare get overconfident this time, staying obediently by Yushu's side. Suddenly, I noticed on a nearby small hill, a group of tribespeople had gathered. Thinking it was another fun gathering, I immediately patted Yushu's wing and pointed toward the hill. Yushu understood my meaning immediately. He circled above Song Ling, preparing to greet him. But he noticed that Song Ling's expression below was grave as he spoke with Ju Hua. Yushu had no choice but to head off with me first. We arrived in no time. The tribespeople had surrounded the hill like an iron wall. Thinking there was some treasure in the center, I quickly pushed my way inside, only to see the little panda lying in the middle. The little panda's face was pale, and it looked like he was about to stop breathing. I quickly jumped down from Yushu's shoulder. After 2 days of rest, my energy had recovered somewhat. I immediately concentrated my mind, and as expected, I transformed back into human form. I reached out to touch Abu's forehead. It was terrifyingly hot. I asked anxiously, what happened to little Abu? Where is Sister Ju Hua? Just as I finished speaking, little Abu's body suddenly arched, as if struck by an electric current, his whole body twitching violently, with a bit of white foam leaking from the corners of his mouth. This terrified me. I quickly channeled my ability. A faint green light slowly enveloped little Abu's body. The green light's reflection gradually appeared in his hollow eyes, and his small body began to calm down. Feeling a bit weak, I sank to the ground. Yushu immediately moved to protect me steadily. Just then, Ju Hua's anxious voice came from nearby. The salt water is here. Make way. The tribespeople immediately opened a path. Ju Hua ran to Abu's side in a panic. Song Ling, behind her, held a stone bowl steadily. His brow furrowed slightly when his gaze fell on me. Ju Hua propped up little Abu, only to find that he was no longer burning with fever. Song Ling brought the salt water for little Abu to drink. In a short while, Abu regained his strength. Looking up and seeing it was his mother, he directly snuggled into her arms and acted spoiled. Song Ling brought the remaining salt water to me, his tone laced with urgency. Chocho, do you feel unwell too? There's still some salt water here. Hurry up and drink it. I looked curiously at the clear water in the bowl. There was nothing in it. What is salt water? Song Ling reached out to wipe the sweat from my forehead. It's water mixed with refined salt. It turned out that the giant rock tribe was in the south of the beast continent, where refined salt was extremely scarce. Every time, they had to collect valuable items for the hunting team to take to the beast market to trade. On the hunting team's return trip this time, they were attacked by wandering beasts, and the refined salt was all lost. Adult beastmen could manage without refined salt for a while, but if the young cubs went without it for too long, they would experience confusion and seizures. Only then did I realize that I indeed hadn't eaten any salt since arriving here. Food was either sour or sweet. I had thought salt didn't exist in this era. It turns out it's just too rare. Song Ling urged me again to drink the salt water quickly. This was the very last of the salt he had in his cave. I originally wanted to give it to the other cubs in the tribe, but I had just exhausted some of my power. Survival comes first. I took the stone bowl and gulped it all down. Just then, Ranchi passed by with Grandma Wu-Yi. Grandma Wu-Yi was being carried by Ranchi like a kite. Her old bones were nearly rattling apart. Song Ling and I exchanged a look, nodded in silent agreement, and quickly followed them. Just as we reached the cave entrance, we heard cries and screams echoing from inside. More and more cubs were having seizures. The refined salt was long gone. Grandma Wu-Yi was pacing in a panic. Filled with self-reproach, Ranchi punched the stone wall in frustration. Yushu clenched his fists, looking at his brother. Brother, I'll take some men to the market now to trade for salt. Song Ling's expression was grave. I'm afraid before you even fly out of the south, you'll be targeted by wandering beasts. While everyone was panicking, a string of blue subtitles suddenly appeared before my eyes. What is this? I thought I was hallucinating from the stress. I instinctively reached out to touch them, but my fingers passed right through the text. My gaze fell on a small patch of grass on the ground, and the subtitles appeared again. Fluorescent plate grass. Wash the leaves. Apply the sap to wounds to relieve pain. Surprised, I crouched down, plucked a leaf, and asked Song Ling, "What is the name of this grass?" Song Ling stepped closer and said, "That's fluorescent plate grass. It can relieve wound pain. It's very common here." I suppressed my internal joy. It matched perfectly with the subtitles just now. Could I have awakened some cheat for being a transmigrator? I focused my gaze on other plants, and indeed, prompts appeared for all of them. Could there be a plant With a high salt content? Like a scanner. I bent over and began scanning through the grass. My fingertips brushed aside the withered yellow stalks. I scanned over a dozen types, but none were useful. I started to feel a bit discouraged and shook the mud off my hands. Right, if there were plants with high salt content, Song Ling and the others would have discovered them long ago. Just as my heart was sinking, my knee brushed against a strange weed growing in a crevice. It looked different from the other grasses. I quickly focused my gaze on it, and blue subtitles immediately jumped out. Salt frost grass. The plant contains natural soft salt. Can be crushed to extract salt. Found it, I shouted. I pinched a grass leaf with my fingertips, then brought it to my nose to sniff it. Sure enough, there was a faint, salty, and astringent smell. Song Ling thought I was unhappy and was taking my frustration out on the grass. He was about to walk over and comfort me. I grabbed the salt frost grass and ran happily towards Song Ling. Excitedly, I hugged him and said, "Great, Song Ling, I found salt." Song Ling's back stiffened for a second. His ears burned hot, and his fingertips hovered in the air, not knowing where to put them. Yushu and the others heard the noise and ran over quickly. Seeing Song Ling's smug expression, Yushu couldn't help but glare at him fiercely. It took a moment for Song Ling to react. Found salt? Where? I proudly shook the grass in my hand. This is it. The three of them looked at the green grass in my hand, all showing the same expression of bewilderment. There was no time to explain slowly to them. I crushed the salt frost grass and put it in a stone pot to boil. After a while, the water changed color. Anxiously, I took a taste. Indeed, it was salty. Song Ling and Ran Chi also quickly took a sip. The next second, their eyes lit up, but I started to feel a bit worried. Even though it was salty, it might not necessarily be effective for the cubs. Yushu also stepped forward to try it, but Ran Chi just picked up the whole pot and took it away. As he ran, he said, "If you keep testing it, there won't be any left. Quick, take it to Grandma Wui and the cubs to try." We immediately followed him. Inside the cave, the tribespeople heard that Ran Chi had brought salt water, and they all craned their necks, waiting expectantly. Ran Chi first distributed the salt water to a seizing leopard cat cub. Everyone watched the cub's reaction nervously. After drinking the salt water, the leopard cat cub indeed stopped twitching. Just when everyone thought the cub was getting better, the little cat suddenly sat bolt upright, like a stiff corpse, his two round eyes staring straight ahead. My heart instantly leaped into my throat. I was about to go over and use my ability to check, but the little cat suddenly smacked his lips. Wearing a greedy expression, he said coaxingly, "Mom, what kind of sugar water was that? It's so tasty. I want more." Hearing the little cat's words, I finally let my heart settle back into my chest and let out a secret sigh of relief. Grandma Wui immediately stepped forward to check the little cat's condition, confirming that the little cat's fever had subsided and he was recovering. She smiled and nodded at me. With Grandma Wui's confirmation, all the tribespeople immediately broke into cheers. Song Ling quickly arranged for everyone to pick more salt frost grass. Yushu led the tribespeople to help with the transportation. Ran Chi organized the members of the hunting team to start boiling the water in pots. I stood by to identify the herbs brought back by the tribespeople. Everyone cooperated through division of labor. The busy work lasted late into the night. It wasn't until all the cubs began to recover that the tribespeople finally went back to rest. Song Ling watched me as I carefully identified the herbs. His eyes filled with pride and intense affection, as if he wanted to keep me all to himself. Grandma Wui teased, "With such an outstanding little mate, you'll be very happy in the future." I immediately turned bright red with embarrassment. The salt frost grass almost fell to the ground. "Mate?" When my eyes drifted toward Song Ling, he not only didn't deny it, he also stared at me with a face full of joy. I quickly picked up the herbs I had just checked and looked at them again, aimlessly, pretending to be very busy. Many single bear beast men nearby also heard her and actually rushed over to join the commotion, each clamoring for me to be their little mate. A buffalo started showing off his abs on the spot. Wooly pulled out a large handful of animal bone ornaments. Ching Meng even publicly said he had 2 members, and even started taking off his clothes. I was so embarrassed I wanted to find a hole to crawl into. What kind of high-level social death scene was this? At this moment, Yushu also hurried over, shouting at the top of his lungs, and me, I want to be one too." Before he could finish his sentence, he was forcibly silenced by Ran Chi behind him. You're not even fully grown and you want a mate? I think you just want a beating." The two started bickering again. I quickly took the chance to slip away amidst the chaos. I went to the stream and washed my face. The handsome guys in this flourishing world are just too enthusiastic. I was about to drink some water to calm my nerves when I noticed that my reflection in the water had quietly begun to change. The baby fat and childishness had faded away. My skin had become even more silvery white and delicate, with a faint pink glow. My tender, full lips looked like they held a hint of sweetness even when not smiling, like crushed spring sunlight, gentle and vibrant. I couldn't help but admire myself in the water, completely failing to notice that someone was hiding under a large tree not far away. Green pupils shimmered with an eerie light in the darkness, staring fixedly at me. It seemed Mad Claw's information was correct. This little female is indeed different. Then, a gust of wind blew, and the ornaments on the person's body made a faint sound. Anyone who has been a bird knows that a bird's hearing is very keen. I vaguely sensed danger, quickly grabbed a stone from the ground, and slowly stood up to look into the darkness. I nervously clenched my small hand. The figure in the distance grew closer and closer. Just as I was about to throw the stone, the person called out gently, "Cho-cho." I stopped my movement. Looking closer, it was Song Ling. Song Ling saw that my face was pale and immediately asked anxiously, "What's wrong, Cho-Cho?" I shook my head and threw the small stone into the water. Song Ling thought everyone's actions earlier had scared me. He produced an oily, large chicken leg from behind him and waved it gently in front of my eyes. The aroma of golden meat instantly wafted to my nose. My eyes brightened instantly. I was starving after a day of turmoil. I quickly reached out to take it, but Song Ling intentionally held it higher. I instinctively stood on my tiptoes to reach for it, lost my balance, and tumbled into Song Ling's embrace. Song Ling reached out with his long arm and steadily caught me by the waist. The hand holding the large chicken leg froze in midair. He chuckled softly, his gentle breath brushing against my ear. My face instantly burned hot, and I instinctively took a step back. Song Ling smiled foolishly with affection. He patiently shredded the tender meat from the chicken leg, bit by bit, and fed it to me. I didn't care about anything else and started eating the chicken. In no time, the large chicken leg was finished. Only then did I remember that Song Ling hadn't eaten a single bite. I held the last small piece of chicken meat to his lips. Song Ling was stunned for a moment, then lowered his head and gently took it, his warm lips inadvertently brushing against my fingertips. A tingle of warmth shot from my fingertips straight to my heart. Suppressing the urge to scream, I quickly turned my face away. Song Ling knew when to stop, sitting quietly by my side. After resting for a while longer, we got up and went back to the cave. We happened to run into Yushu, who was coming out to look for us. As soon as Yushu saw us, he was like a dormitory warden conducting a check. "Song Ling, why did you go out with Cho-Cho alone? Did you do anything behind my back?" Song Ling just smiled and shrugged. "Take a guess." I quickly slipped into the cave, only to see Grandma Wui sighing to the side. "Grandma Wui, what's wrong?" Grandma Wui pointed to the herbs on the stone table and said, "There isn't much of this grass left. We still have to find a way to the North Continent to trade for salt." Ranchi immediately spoke up. "I'll go back now and arrange for the hunting team to set out as soon as possible." I couldn't help but start thinking, why does the North Continent sound so familiar? In the original novel, wasn't there a major villain plot in the North Continent? I quickly said, "I want to go too." At this moment, I didn't yet know that a massive crisis was waiting for me in the North Continent. Hearing this from outside the cave, Yushu made a silent decision. Trading for salt required valuable items. The Giant Rock tribe happened to have a batch of stoneware. The stone materials of the Giant Rock tribe were the most suitable in the whole Beast continent for making stoneware. The resulting stoneware was very popular in the North Continent. To speed things up, I also went to help, working every day until my face was covered in dust. One day, while organizing the stoneware, I felt that the stoneware we made was too plain. Although the quality was good, the appearance was too singular and not aesthetically pleasing enough. I suddenly remembered the plant system and quickly used it to search. I found flowers that could be used as dyes and were not easy to fade. After I crushed the petals, I used a small feather to paint on the stoneware. The stoneware indeed looked much more exquisite, but time was limited. It was impossible to produce them on a large scale. I only painted patterns on a few small stoneware pieces. While waiting for the patterns to air dry, I suddenly realized I hadn't seen Yushu and the others for several days. Without Yushu, I was actually a bit unaccustomed to the absence of that little chatterbox. Juhua saw me spacing out and nudged me with her elbow. "What's wrong, Cho-Cho? Are you thinking about your little sweetheart?" My little face instantly turned beet red. I quickly waved my hands and said, No. In my panic, I bumped into a piece of stoneware and it fell silently into the clay. Juhua teased me again with a smile. "No need to rush. They must have gone back to prepare their bridal gifts." My pupils instantly dilated. Bridal gifts? Only then did Juhua remember I was an abandoned little fat pigeon. She guessed no one had ever mentioned this to me before. She explained patiently, "That's right. After we return from this gathering, it will be our Giant Rock tribe's Beast God Assembly. All the unmated males will bring bridal gifts to propose to the females. To pair up, you know?" My first thought was of Song Ling. No wonder I hadn't seen him for days. Could it be that he also went to prepare a bridal gift? As I was lost in thought with my head lowered, Juhua suddenly raised her voice and asked, "Cho-Cho, do you like wild boar beastmen?" I looked up with a confused face. "What? Wild boar?" Juhua picked up the small stoneware piece from the clay, shook it at me and said, "Otherwise, why would you paint a wild boar on the stoneware?" I took it and saw that the original rose pattern had actually turned into the likeness of Peppa Pig. I tried to wipe it off with my hand, but the flower juice had already dried. Just then, some tribe members came in to urge us to pack the stoneware, so I had no choice but to pack it along with the rest. At this moment, I didn't yet know that this Peppa Pig would bring me quite a stir. The time to set off for the North Continent drew closer. I quickly packed my equipment, especially my favorite meat strips and raisins. I turned back into a small, fat pigeon and had a wonderful sleep in my bird's nest. The next day, when the horn for departure blew, I was still sound asleep in the nest. Song Ling, waiting anxiously at the cave entrance, came straight in, slung my small pack over his shoulder, carefully placed me in his palm, and doted on me with a mock complaint, "You little lazybones." By this time, the hunting team heading to the market was ready to set out. Ranchi, as the captain, led the way, while Yushu transformed into a hawk to scout from the sky. Song Ling leisurely walked at the very back with me, even though we were on the move. Song Ling's embrace was surprisingly steady. I didn't wake up until high noon. Song Ling's black clothes wrapped everything tightly. I lazily rolled over and muttered, "Why isn't it dawn yet?" However, the sounds of tribe members talking came from around me. I suddenly sprang up and poked my small head out from Song Ling's embrace. Looking up, the sun was already high in the sky. I scratched my head, a bit embarrassed. Thank goodness for Song Ling. Suddenly remembering my venison jerky, I started chirping at Song Ling. Song Ling immediately understood what I meant, shook the pack, pulled out a small piece of jerky, and stuffed it into my mouth. I happily chewed on the jerky, my small mouth stuffed full and round, my head bobbing with joy. Just then, Yushu noticed I was awake. He flew down specifically to my side and invited me to fly up there with him. The wind from his massive wings messed up my feathers. I wiped my mouth and flew up with Yushu. When the wind grew strong, Yushu instinctively tucked his wing closer to me, blocking most of the resistance for me. We soared through the clouds side by side. Even the wind seemed to become gentle. The closer we got to the North Continent, the more sweltering the air became. Flapping my wings made me feel exhausted, so I obediently crawled back into Song Ling's embrace. Ranchi ordered the team to stop and rest. I was wilting from the heat. Even my feathers were about to sweat. Song Ling looked down, then transformed his legs into a snake tail and gently coiled it around me. An icy cool sensation washed over me. It was like walking into an air-conditioned room in summer. I instantly relaxed and rubbed against the snake tail comfortably. Seeing this, Yushu also immediately turned into a mini hawk and wiggled his butt toward Song Ling. He chuckled mischievously. Song Ling, I want to cool off too. Saying that, he pounced toward me. Song Ling's eyebrows twitched slightly. The tip of his tail immediately wrapped around the little hawk and tossed Yushu away like a small ball. Yushu landed face first in the dirt, instantly jumping up in a rage and stomped away cursing. I chirped and laughed out loud. Meanwhile, in the North Continent's merchant caravan, Lu Yanyan had already set out. Because it was too hot during the day, we could only travel at night. After several days of continuous travel, we finally reached a midway station of the Beast Continent. Some tribal teams would trade here, so it had also become a gathering place for a large market. The market was located in a large open space in the forest, surrounded by massive, towering ancient trees that looked like natural walls. Ranchi said happily, "We'll rest here for a few days. If there's a good opportunity, we'll trade here. Don't make the little ones wait too long." Everyone nodded in agreement. Ranchi led the team through a few turns, found a quiet corner, and began to set up a temporary shelter. I poked my little body out from Song Ling's leather belt, wanting to change back into my human form, but he pushed me back in. He whispered, "There might be rogue beasts mixed in here. You don't have a mating mark or scent on you. You could easily become a target for them. Better stay in your beast form for now." I nodded obediently. The temporary shelter was soon built. Song Ling took out dried meat and boiled soup. I finally got to have something warm. I licked the food bowl until it shone. After eating, everyone began to take turns resting. As the captain, Ranchi was the first to stand guard. Like a child on their first long journey, I was too excited to sleep, so I simply curled up in Ranchi's wolf tail to keep watch with him. The night sky was very bright, with too many stars to count. I turned my head to look at Ranchi. The moonlight spilled over him, blending youthfulness and wildness. His handsome features had a cold, sharp quality, marking him as a very reliable captain. Ranchi neither doted on me excessively like Song Ling, nor did he fully trust me like Yushu's mother. There was always something about him that I couldn't quite see through. At this moment, Ranchi was holding the stoneware I had painted, examining it closely, as if he were trying to look right through it. He couldn't help but hiss, then swept me with his fluffy wolf tail, signaling that I could change back to my human form. I glanced at Song Ling's tent, then transformed back into human form in a flash. I had been stifled these past few days. After all, a small bird has no hands and cannot speak. I quickly stretched my back. When I turned around, Ranchi was staring at me with a frown. He asked out of the blue, "Are you really a female of the Beast Continent? Why do you know the herbs to make salt water? Why do you know this flower juice can be used for painting? And, who is this drawn on here?" Faced with Ranchi's questioning, I didn't panic at all. I took the stoneware, pointed to the Peppa pattern and asked, "Who is this? Don't you remember?" Ranchi was a bit taken aback by my question. Who is this? How would I know? My gaze scanned Ranchi, my little brain undergoing a brainstorm. It seemed Ranchi wasn't that transmigrated major villain. I stuffed the stoneware back into Ranchi's hand and began to talk nonsense with a serious face. "I don't know who this is either. It was imprinted when it fell into the clay. Juhua told you that last time. As for why I know saltfrost grass." At that, I lowered my voice purposefully, even starting to sob a bit aggrievedly. Ranchi panicked instantly. He stuttered, "What's wrong?" I secretly pinched myself, barely squeezing out a few tears, and began to act pitiful. "I'm just a small fledgling abandoned by my tribe to get salt water. Naturally, I had to rely on myself for everything." Now Ranchi felt even more guilty. He mentally slapped himself. "Little Chocho, don't cry. It was my fault. I'll agree to anything you want." Hearing Ranchi's words, a sly smile tugged at the corner of my mouth. I looked up at Ranchi pitifully. "Then turn into a wolf pup for me to play with?" Ranchi was stunned and a bit shy. He paused, then turned into a wolf pup and jumped into my arms, with a coat of light gray fluffy short fur, ears flopping softly, and round, amber eyes. He looked incredibly adorable. My eyes lit up instantly. I first gently touched his fluffy back, my fingertips sliding smoothly along the grain of the fur, then pinched his soft wolf ears. By now, Ranchi's whole being was blushing fiercely. His heart was racing. That place should only be touched by a mate. But how could I hear his inner thoughts? My wicked hands began to roam even more recklessly over the little wolf pup. I even picked him up and rubbed him against my face vigorously. I couldn't help it. Song Ling was a smooth snake, and Yushu was a feathery hawk. For fluffy little animals like Ranchi and the red pandas, I had been craving this for a long time. Ranchi had gone from initial shrinking to complete relaxation, and was now even starting to enjoy it, even letting out a comfortable whimper. I was so engrossed in petting him that I completely failed to notice. In the darkness behind me, a pair of glowing green eyes were staring fixedly at me. Just as the dark shadow was losing patience and preparing to ambush, Ranchi transformed back into his human form in a flash. Like a spirited youth, his sparkling eyes were looking at me with deep affection. I quickly withdrew my hands, getting ready to turn back into a bird to sleep, but Ranchi caught me. In a gentle and somewhat seductive tone, he said, "You want to run away after flirting?" Saying that, his full lips drew closer to me. Before I could push him away, a strange voice rang out from behind. I wondered who this was. "Isn't this the little fat bird we abandoned?" Ranchi immediately let go of me and shielded me behind him. I looked toward the voice. It was two bird tribe beast men, tall in stature. I estimated they were about 2 meters tall, especially those long legs. They looked longer than my lifespan. Wait, who is the little fat bird? Me? The yellow-haired bird beast man stepped forward, his expression one of looking down his nose at me. He said mockingly, "The unwanted fat bird is actually quite popular in this poor, small tribe." Song Ling and the others immediately rushed out when they heard the commotion. Yushu has a hot temper. He immediately snapped back. "Who are you calling poor and small? It's you yellow-haired bird." The frail-looking yellow-haired bird's face turned from red to blue, and finally went completely black. He roared, and charged at Yushu like a crazed rhinoceros. With a dull thud, Yushu didn't even move his feet, catching the opponent's full-strength strike with one hand. Yushu's gaze became increasingly sharp. "How dare you bully our Chocho? I'll teach you a lesson." Before the other could react, Yushu flipped his wrist, grabbed the yellow-haired bird's arm and slung him away. With another loud bang, the yellow-haired bird's body traced an arc through the air and slammed heavily onto the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. As the dust slowly cleared, the yellow-haired bird was seen lying sprawled in a crater, his eyes glazed over, clearly not having come to his senses yet. The blue-haired bird beside him still wanted to step forward to fight, but Song Ling directly released the pressure of a rank 6 snake beast. The blue-haired bird froze instantly, then turned to help the yellow-haired bird up. He said in a lowered voice, "Don't cause trouble. If the master finds out, we'll be in for it." Suppressing his rage, the two of them transformed into their beast forms and flew away. I quickly stepped forward to check Yushu's injuries with my ability. At first, Yushu insisted he was fine, until I forcibly pulled back his sleeve. Yushu's arm was covered in black and blue bruises. I quickly pulled him inside for treatment. I was now very familiar with using my ability. A green light glowed from my palm and slowly seeped into Yushu's arm, repairing those minute injuries. Ranchi leaned against the doorframe with a teasing smile. "I told you. After taking a full-strength hit from that guy, how could you be perfectly fine? You sure can put on a show, kid." A rare look of embarrassment appeared on Yushu's face. Meanwhile, inside the North Continent's Beast God Hall, the candle flames flickered. The Beast God statue cast a dark shadow, looking as if it would swallow someone at any moment. The elderly great priest was kneeling on the ground, his withered fingers tightly clutching the bone prayer beads. A dark shadow entered silently and said respectfully, "Great priest, the little female has been found." The great priest looked up abruptly, a twisted, perverse delight in his voice, which sounded like sandpaper rubbing together. "Very good. Set out immediately." The next day, we set out for the market with some of the stoneware. Yushu was injured, so he and a few beast men stayed at the camp to guard the remaining stoneware. I huddled in the leather bag Song Ling carried. The opening of the bag was left slightly ajar, a small slit just enough for me to poke my head out. I held onto the furry edge of the bag, my round eyes darting around, filled with uncontrollable curiosity. My little body couldn't help but wiggle slightly. Song Ling's steps were steady. Occasionally he would pat the leather bag gently, as if to soothe me. This little tiny thing. Every now and then, he'd stuff some novel snack into my mouth. Unfortunately, there wasn't much fine salt here. After wandering around, we only managed to trade for a small amount of fine salt and some necessities. Ranchi planned to take the other beast men deeper into the market to try their luck. Song Ling and I went to trade for some food. Passing by a steaming little stall, I was instantly captivated by the freshly roasted meat skewers. My little throat couldn't help but swallow uncontrollably. Song Ling looked down and saw my greedy look. He let out a low laugh and gently patted my little head. He pulled a piece of stoneware from the leather bag. and traded it with the stall owner for a roasted sausage. The stall owner took the stoneware and looked it over. A look of satisfaction immediately appeared on his face, and he readily agreed. I held the warm roasted sausage, nibbling it happily in small bites, my heart filled with the delicious aroma. I didn't notice at all that the small piece of stoneware Tsung Ling had handed out was the very one I had painted with Peppa Pig. Not long after we turned to leave, a female beast man walked by the stall. Her eyes accidentally fell upon the stoneware the owner had set aside. When her gaze landed on that familiar Peppa Pig pattern, her whole body stiffened abruptly, and her face was instantly filled with unbelievable shock. That night, we returned to the temporary shelter. Ran Chi and the others had good luck and had traded for even more salt. We discussed it and decided the salt we had was enough to last until the next gathering, so we planned to return to the tribe tomorrow. Everyone went to sleep early after dinner, but I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. I had a bad premonition. My eyelid was twitching. I simply changed back to human form to get some air nearby. My gaze scanned the surroundings alertly. I felt as if a pair of eyes were watching me from the darkness. Sure enough, I saw a thick, massive tree with a suspicious shadow behind it. I picked up a wooden stick from the ground, mustered my courage, and crept toward it. Just as I raised the wooden stick, preparing to give it a hard blow, a voice cried out in panic, "I am the female lead. I know the secret of the beast continent.